Hello, Dr. Amna.
Good morning. Morning
Good
here.
day. Good day.
Morning,
Morning,
welcome.
welcome.
Hello, everyone. It's a privilege to welcome you to this distinguished session organized by the Sustainability and Climate Innovation Community under the leadership of the Global Innovation Institute and the Global Innovation Summit. Today's theme, Innovation for Climate Resilient Economies, touches the very intersection where science, human behavior, and global responsibility meet. As we gather experts who redefine the boundaries of what is possible, our purpose is not only to exchange insights, but to reimagine the pathways that shape our shared future. Let's begin with the co-leader, Dr. Allama Al-Mahdi.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Doctora
Doctora.
Emma. Can you hear me
Can you
very
hear
well?
me very, very, very?
Yes, there
Yes,
is it.
there is it, 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 there is it.
And now,
And now.
Dr. Allama.
is anyone
Anyone,
can hear me?
anyone.
Much better.
Hello. Hi.
I'm sorry, I was connected with two devices. I didn't get it.
Great.
Thank you, Dr. Aimna. Thank you, all of you, to be with us today for our today's session, which will be around two important subjects, or I will say three: sustainability, economic, and climate. We just have closed Abu Dhabi Finance Week and Abu Dhabi also Sustainable Finance Week. And we saw with them, they show us how economic is very interconnected with climate and sustainability. And today we are going to explore how we can how we can link, first of all, between us, our expertise, how we can use it, how we can work together, and how we can collaborate together to innovate. Then we can face to all these challenges we have today. Challenges are very big today, and it's going to be more and more big tomorrow and after tomorrow. I'm very happy to have all of you here. I can see that all speakers, mashallah alaik, are very high profile, high qualified with very good skills. And I'm sure that today panel discussion will be like others, one of the best, inshallah. And enjoy. I hope all of you, and I thanks all participants here who make time to join us and to take part to this important event and helping us collaborate with us. Even they are not speaking with us, they are collaborating with us to innovate together to make a better world. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Allama. So let's begin with Dr. Muhammad Sheikh. Dr. Muhammad, could you please introduce yourself and then I ask the first question?
Well, hello, everyone, and thank you for this invitation. This is Mohammed Sheikh. I am assistant professor at Imam Abdurrahman University, and, specializing in entrepreneurship and sustainability. I'm co-founder also of multiple startups. One of them is a climate technologies called Net Zero, and I am I'm entrepreneur, and wearing the academia hat as well. So, yeah, this is me, and happy to see you all here at this session.
Well, glad to have you.
Thank
To
you.
begin with, how can GCC countries accelerate the transition to climate resilient, low carbon economies through innovation?
Well, this is a very big question, when it comes to sustainability in GCC. But when we look at the worldwide international markets, how they are responding to innovation in terms of sustainability, there is a lot of practices they do. But when it comes to GCC, I think we have a common environment, common practices, almost common culture, and can see how countries in GCC they are starting to adopt sustainability behaviors, like decarbonization. Now, from manufacturing point of view, there is a lot of practices coming to enhance, to offset the carbon emissions from the manufacturing industry using the renewable energies or the solar energies. Of course, many years now, GCC is going to enhance and produce more solars, putting it in the desert and the roofs of the towers, and you can see how solar energy or solar panels are everywhere. When it comes to recycling, we can see a lot of practices from airports waste to natural waste to manufacturing waste. We can see Saudi Arabia, and, UAE, and Bahrain, and Qatar, they are also getting prizes, also not only starting to do this, they are getting awards, getting certificates from international award from as a sustainable practices. And so with all of this movement, there is innovations. One, tech innovations. And tech innovations, we can see how those governments and private sector, they are using dashboards. They are monitoring the emissions and how to offset these emissions, monitoring the impact on the environment, and how to use the waste to enhance the environment. So they are using technologies, one tech. Second, machines. There is a lot of machines for waste machines, solar wind machines. So we are benchmarking the international practices and then try to apply. But there is, of course, innovations that comes pure from our countries, from the neighbor countries like Saudi Arabia. We have pure innovations, original innovations that comes from GCC, and it is customized and fit to our region. And some of these innovations are already cross-border. It goes to Europe, it goes to America, it goes to... So now we are in the era of not only see what type of innovation is in America or Europe or China or India. We are in the era of develop our innovations or create our innovations and then test it in our environment, then market such innovations in the global market. So this is, in short, what's come to my mind in terms of innovation sustainability.
Thank you so much for these valuable insights. Now with Dr. Roni, could you please introduce yourself?
Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon.
Hello.
Good evening, maybe different part of the world. My name is Dr. Roni Delgado. I'm originally from a small town in Haiti, Cap Haitian. It's a beautiful city, beautiful town. Moved to the United States about a decade ago with $5 in my pocket, and now I'm so fortunate to lead a great initiative on sustainability and waste, the Global Paint for Charity, which is a big baby now. It's 16 years, reducing paint waste to increase access to color in third world countries. Also a professor and climate change and civic engagement, social impact as well. So I'm so excited, grateful to be here with all of you. I look at everybody and the panel. So interesting, amazing people to get to know. I'm so grateful to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and you're most welcome. Well, Dr. Roni, from your perspective, how can circular economy solutions contribute not only to climate action, but also to community development?
Well, that's a very wonderful question. Circular economy, it's what? What is circular economy? Well, when we see three aspects, and there, the first has to be with what we produce. For the years or centuries, we have seen we build wonderful buildings we no longer use. We have to destroy them to meet the demands of today. And we keep building a lot of infrastructures to improve our lives. These are great uh, data that's been collected over years. But what we don't see is in order to keep pace with what we produce, we have to recycle and also being able to use and reuse some of the product we no longer in use. So for us at Global Paint, we have been using that model to think about people, planet, and purpose. And we use paint as a tool, that product that been overproduced. Because here in the United States, the statistics shows that over 3 billion gallons of paint are sold for commercial use, for residential, new buildings. And 10% of that has been waste. That's a lot of paint. And you look at other communities, there's a lack access to paint, and you look at read the data. The World Health Organization estimated that 1.5 billion people don't have access to proper materials to build their homes. And you look at a gallon of paint that costs $35 in the US, and some countries people make less than dollars a day, and they won't be able to save enough to be able to purchase a gallon of paint, which can bring pride and beautifications and well-being into their home. So from an economic standpoint, well, we can see the disparities there. I'm not good at math, but if you make $35, if you sell your gallons of paint $35 here, and I make $1 a day, I want food on my table. I want to feed my children. I want to be able to send my kids to school. I'm not gonna buy your gallon paint. Sorry, and you can bill as much as paint you want, but I'm just not in the market for that. So how we merge those two, we connect those who have paint and those who don't have paint to be able to bring sustainability in those communities. So that's what Global Paint is doing and throughout on the world.
Thank you. A truly important angle. Dr. Kanmani, could you please introduce yourself?
First of all, thank you very much, Dr. Amna and Dr. Alama, for inviting me to this distinguished panel with a diverse panelist and also inspiring minds from different time zones. And myself, I'm Dr. Kanmani, and I'm the head of medical affairs from Leader Biotech Pharma. I drive the strategic and scientific medical connections and collaborations with the scientific communities, and especially when it comes to real world evidence generations, as well as I head the preclinical and vivarium solutions on preclinical space, especially when it comes to the animal housing solutions or the complete turnkey portfolio of preclinical and pharma solutions as well. I worked with ex-Servier, an MNC pharma company, as well as Biocon in the medical affairs role. And I've also co-led or co-directed a startup company with Skytree Solutions, which was helping the clinicians and the doctors to publish their papers, complete end-to-end scientific tools. And I represent my present and the previous organization globally in different platforms. So that's just in a nutshell about me. And once again, thank you very much for having me here.
Glad to have you. So, Dr. Kanmani, how can climate-aligned research and preclinical R&D enhanced by AI, digital twins, and advanced bioanalytics accelerate resilient solutions in health, agriculture, and biotechnology?
Well, climate resilience itself is a wide topic. When we speak about climate resilience, we are talking about the responsible innovation of the technology development, which can lead to protect lives, strengthen the community, as well as the ecosystem. So we are looking at the future, and we are no more in the historical condition deriving the data. Everything works with the fast-paced AI world, and which is game-changing actually. AI, when a artificial intelligence is used in the climate resilience research and development, it involves humongous environmental data, projections, and biological systems to predict how the future would look like. And this can enhance the predictions on the risk benefit ratio of what the region or the technology is going to do for the outcome research. I'll give you a very small example of how this can support in the climate resilience. A crop can be tested for is multiomics, for example. Multiomics is derived from the bioanalytical tool, and this can enhance to identify the crops are climate resilient or weather resilient or disease resilient itself. Or in that case, resistance crops can be found by generating or analyzing this kind of data. Now, when this is interesting when we discuss about the digital twins, and it dates back to 1970. First time when Apollo 13 crashed, it crippled because of the explosion, and NASA was thinking how to bring back the astronauts back to the Earth. And that is when the NASA found that they were trying to put together the physical replica of the spacecraft, and thereby on real time they converted a virtual reality, which then identified as a mirroring, and by then they have formed the digital twin. The name was not coined yet, but it was initially called as mirroring, and this came to terms in 2010 afterwards. Now digital twin is something which is like a virtual replica or a virtual reality itself, especially when it comes to the climate resilience and R&D, the farming, the crops, and whatever the farmers are doing, all these can be replicated in virtual terms, and this can be simulated and to predict whether it can be an outbreak, or it can be a drought or heat, whatever climate resilient things can be found out using a digital simulation. I'll give you a very good example of digital twin. One of the best example would be 3D bioprinting. It doesn't only restrict to the preclinical space, but 3D bioprinting can print miniature of organs or tissue scaffolds in which the drug discovery can be done, because this doesn't only have the micro organ just for the visualization purpose. It involves metabolism, stress, or whatever is happening inside an actual tissues happens in 3D bioprinting itself. So which means this kind of research and innovation can drastically decrease the number of test subjects used or the animal models used. So this is the innovation we are heading towards for the future. And that's about the digital twins. And of course, there are humongous data involved. And UAE as a region is taking massive steps towards it by forming a group community like CGIR and recent tie-ups, especially for the $200 million of AI digital platform, which was announced last week, if I'm not wrong. So, a lot of things are towards how and accelerating towards the resilient and innovative technology towards this concept. And we are living in the present, but looking towards the future. This is how future is going to be. There is no more of, just sitting and assuming what is going to happen when it comes to the weather or climatic changes. We already know and we are driving towards it and adapting towards the future itself. So yeah, that's about it.
Thank you very much for this compelling contribution. Dr. Katarzyna, could you please introduce yourself?
Yes, first of all, thank you so much, Dr. Amna and Dr. Alama for the invitation. I'm very honored to join such distinguished speakers, and also for a great cause, which is putting in the center our future of people around the world, also in the GCC region. When it comes to presentation, I'm a medical healthcare professional recognized in working internationally, especially with the applications with medtech and pharma innovation, and all different kind of approaches when it comes to whatever would be serving populations and patients, which means us the best. So whenever there is an opportunity to come with some new technologies, I believe it's very important to have the idea about how they can be beneficial, but also how we can bring the regulatory and safety into also using them to the best of all the users, doctors from one side, as I'm talking about the healthcare inside, but also for the patients. So I was able to bring those topics towards my career. Over the past years, I have worked as the expert advisor and evaluator for European Commission. I'm also evaluator for multiple countries when it comes to their research and innovation applications, as well as Women Tech EU, as different kind of also investors when it comes to, validate if the technology is interesting and could be possibly applied. But also I'm supporting startups, mentoring especially women startup founders. And I'm also working as a mental health professional, being a professional coach, clinical hypnotherapist, and having multiple other diplomas, which help me to basically bring the best of mental health. But the thing which brings me today to speak to you is to actually bridge those two words. So artificial intelligence and technology, so what is the best different kind of tools which we can have, and the mental health. And actually, when we speak about sustainability, we are also at the center of this topic. So that's what I would like to bring today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Doctor, and we are honored to have you. So my question is, how can AI strengthen early detection, monitoring, and prevention of mental health challenges, especially within climate-stressed or vulnerable communities?
Yes, so thank you so much, Dr. Anna, for the question. This is really a very critical topic. So first of all, I think we are not fully aware that there is a massive global treatment gap when it comes to mental health, which is only receiving 2% of the health spending. And it's not only in the GCC region. This is a global issue. So all AI can offer multiple powerful ways to bridge this gap, and especially in underserved, climate stress or vulnerable communities where professional help is really scarce. I had an opportunity this year to actually bring this topic forward. I was invited to speak at the United Nations General Assembly in New York. And I can say that it started a little bit like a wave, with many countries actually putting this topic in the center of attention. Now, coming back to your question, first of all, when it comes to early detection and monitoring, I believe that we have a little bit bridging to what Dr. Kanmani mentioned, a lot of different things where populations are stressed within all different kind of issues coming from the climate. So let's say we have farmers facing crop failure, or coastal populations after floods, all different kind of issues coming from the weather. Which can be sometimes very unpredictable and which can have repercussions, to basically how our supply chain within the food will be basically maintained. So AI can definitely analyze large-scale anonymized data sets that can also help with social media trends and environmental data or public health information. And this can help to identify patterns of distrust at the community and actually assess its level. So that's first thing, a little bit like the diagnosis of what is happening. And for instance, predictive models could flag rising anxiety in the region after a natural disaster, allowing for a protective public health response, which could be very helpful and basically bring the help where it's needed. I believe there is a lot of different kind of applications, wearables sometimes, which could be very valuable in this kind of cases. So we have all different kind of companies, and I have actually done a little bit in-depth study of different applications and companies which are offering different tools when it comes to mental health. Some of them offer wearable sensors which are providing monitoring of physiological signals like heart rate variability. AI can also interpret these signals and provide early warnings of raising stress, sleep disturbances, prompting the user to engage in preventive self-care before the crisis really develops. I believe that's very important. When it comes to prevention, AI can also, which is its strength, deliver scalable, low-cost interventions. So imagine AI-powered educational tool that deliver culturally relevant coping strategies to young people in climate vulnerable area. We also can use AI to create personalized resilience building programs. And I'm very, very fond of initiatives like that. And I believe that we already have a couple of amazing programs in the GCC region as well. I would love to bring more of those as well. We also have to, however, remember that there are also certain things which bring bias. We cannot be completely blind. And I believe what is very important here is that we have artificial intelligence as a tool, which is extremely potent and utilization of different kind of ways. However, what is really very important to bridge the deep cultural and contextual adaptation and human work. So basically make this work together. Thank you.
Thank you. Such an essential perspective. Dr. Muhammad, what reforms in governance and public policy are needed to integrate climate innovation across sectors?
Well, climate is a very hot topic in GCC, definitely. It's worldwide. Now, when it comes to climate, GCC is the main region of oil and gas and drilling, and that's why it affects the climate. And then big initiatives comes from the government across with the private sectors. So when we look from starting 2021, we see that Saudi Arabia, for example, launches one of the biggest initiatives worldwide in plantation and reducing carbon emissions to help the climate, which is called Saudi Green Initiatives, to plant 10 billion trees in Saudi Arabia and 50 billion trees in Middle East. Along with that, Qatar, UAE, Bahrain, they also launches their initiatives toward planting trees and protecting the lands and biodiversity. So when it comes to the regulations and policies, for example, in Saudi Arabia, since we are operating there, there was no such clear regulations in terms of how can innovations fit as a startup to help the government to use the latest technologies to monitor the climate, to see the benefits from what's happening on the ground, and then how can it reflects in number and etc. So this is one. Secondly, the government also put more regulations and more policies. They just started to have more heavy regulations on manufacturing, in sea and oceans, and to protect the sea water and protect the land as well. such regulations comes from, of course, UN, the UN, United Nations. They have the SDGs goals, and one of the goals is climate change, of course. Now, GCC are responding very heavily by revisiting their agendas, revisiting their policies, revisiting their procedures toward transfer from traditional to tech, from traditional to smart. With this, we can see, for example, the Ministry of Water and Agriculture, they launches a full department of entrepreneurship to help startups in agri-tech, water tech, and climate tech. So when it comes to climate, because there is, of course, a lot of startups helping using technologies, helping. So such regulation and such support from the ministry to launch this big department. Now there is more than 100 startups working under the umbrella of water tech, agri-tech, and climate tech. Last time, we don't have that. Now we have even funding, we have government support, we have showcasing our technologies in international exhibitions. So these regulations help us to move forward in climate action. Ministry of Transportation, for example, they have the new regulations on cars moving, coming, and those imported vehicles. They are going for more electricity cars, and we can see the tourism and also industry and tourism ministry. They also identified for the first time that their activities are affecting the climate 8% of CO2. So this is a number that has been announced for the first time, and it has been a time they are calculating how much the tourism industry are affecting the climate. Other ministries as well, Ministry of Manufacturing, Ministry of a lot of examples. Then airlines industry as well, they are putting them in a very high pressure now, high level pressure. 2027, they need to reduce carbon. They need to go to net zero. They need to innovate in terms of airports, emissions coming from airports, emission coming from airline, and getting the accreditation certificate from Coursera and Vera Gold Standard. They have to get those accreditation bodies, certificates, otherwise they will be in a very bad shape. And those type of regulations and pressure by the government, not only in Saudi Arabia, all of them, we know that even Oman, Qatar, UAE, Bahrain, and Saudi Arabia, they are all pushing toward new regulation, new policies to make our region more greener, more healthier, much air quality improving, and achieving the targets of climate change.
Thank you once again, Dr. Muhammad. Dr. Roni, what role can social enterprises play in reducing waste and supporting climate resilient livelihoods? The mic, please, Dr. Roni.
Yeah. We look at social engagement, that the biggest piece in terms of having the stakeholders, the government, not just the regular people, but we look at the government, what policies and infrastructures they put in place. If you listen to Mohammed, how the institutions being established, the support they have received from the government and the financial, the private sector, the public sector. And the social, you look at other politic climate that can be the ultimate factor to limit the possibilities of those individuals, where the people don't have a voice. First of all, if the government doesn't have the infrastructures in place to let people speak freely, to voice their opinion. Because one thing I'm doing in my school to help the student understand the importance of community service. So to be responsible, to be resilient, we teach them about individual resilience, and we also teach them community resilience and how they understand themselves, how they understand the environment they live in, and what resources are valuable for them, and what how they can voice their opinion to really go after the waste management, not just waste management, but there's a saying said, well, a man trash is another man treasure. And they have to understand those concepts. There are things that when I first moved in the US, we see food everywhere, and we say, oh my God, but nowadays I'm wasting food. These are some of the responsibilities we have to take in consideration within ourselves as individuals. What can we do in our own space to reduce waste? But versus what government are doing to put the infrastructures in place, resources, or do they allow a person with a small idea to be able to be freely talk about these issues? Once you find the things that you're passionate about, are you able to use funding that are valuable? How quick can you start your organizations in the city where you live? How quick you can gather the stakeholders, the elected officials, and within community to be able to bring perfect change and the issue that you are so passionate about. And for us at Global Paint, that it wasn't so easy to bring those ideas to really have impact on people. So because we have to go out there, I'm a foreigner. A lot of time people thought I was a Nigerian trying to ask people how this is how you have to dispose of your paint properly. That message wasn't connect with the investors, the private investors looking for return on investment. But how you convince them? Say, well, we're gonna reduce your paint waste, but also the paint will go to a place where we can improve the class or the classroom by once the classroom is painted, how that impact the local student. Do we see the grade increase? We see the broader professors from other school come in the city to really teach the student and which they didn't do before. And we see it, and even what happened, if you look at what happened with the climate, we can take from Jamaica, you can see what happened in Jamaica recently with the hurricane Melissa. You see the devastations, but after the devastations, what resources are valuable? We know the first layer of emergency support that been able to help the local people. But what about the small businesses? What about the small mom and the corner somewhere was helping hundreds of female in the local area? Now the devastation occurred. What resources are valuable to support her and help her get back on her feet and to continue assisting those local people? So it's not only waste, and these are the issues that Global Paint address. We don't want to be in the end because usually paint is the last product we see they use for beautification. But we want to be part of the developing stage. And one of the things that we mentioned about smart cities, and I live in Las Vegas, and every day we have a hotel, or we build another hotel, and here and there. But let's for example see what we can do together, bringing the community together, the kids, because they're going to be part of the waste factor. because most of the items we take for granted now, all the big, beautiful buildings, 200 years from now, what's they gonna have? They're gonna be waste. I mean, like recently I was part of a team that went to Texas, where all the equipments that we used during World War II are collecting dust, and they have to go somewhere. And we're still not being able to engage the community, the government, the social communities to really solve those problems and those items that we've been creating and use for hundreds of years. And they're going to be, and we add to it. So to provide resources available for those people, those individuals who have ideas, they want to implement it and see direct social change and their community. So until we come together, like Dr. Amar mentioned earlier, we need to be able to come together to address those issues and solve them collaboratively. So, and that's what we have been doing at Global Paint, to be able to use the youth, the adult, and those who can afford paint, and those who have significant amount of paint, those buildings, those paint manufacturers, and bring the community together to volunteer and help beautify their own community. Because there are communities we only can talk to the government. There are other communities we can only talk to the NGOs. So, but how we bring everybody together to create that beautiful space, which is our planet, that we want to leave behind when we enjoy ourselves from our time here. Thank you.
Thank you for highlighting this important dimension. Dr. Kalmani, which innovative research infrastructures and governance frameworks are essential for responsible, ethical, and scalable integration of emerging technologies into climate adaptation programs?
Well, thank you, Dr. Amna. Let me just break down this into two parts. I'll briefly discuss on the essential research infrastructure which is, required within the framework. I would say this as the FAIR model. It should be federated in the climate aligned data platforms, and FAIR is specifically findable, accessible, interoperable, as well as reusable. This is a strategy that has to be maintained within the framework of climate, health, agriculture, as well as biotechnology. So this integration has to be there, and it has to be governed. And especially the other infrastructure which is mainly needed is artificial intelligence and high performance computing, especially when data is involved. When it comes to climatic projections, it is too huge and too complicated, and high level and high performance computing is required as one of the infrastructure, so that these data can be properly analyzed and given a prediction model or a future forecast, so that this can be implemented into actionables. And another infrastructure could be, I spoke very briefly about digital twins. Digital twins platforms are already existing, but what I'm trying to say here is that the platform should be shareable, especially within the community. It should be transparent, so that this visual simulations can be used in a cloud-based platform, so that the others can also get the reap out of it. Because usually, I'll just give you a brief example. Somewhere in Africa or in London, there is a wheat farmer who is going to use the AI platform in place, especially when it comes to the harvesting. Now, there are a lot of applications available, a lot of tools available, and one of the tool would be the sensor. The sensor can be placed in the soil itself, so that the sensor can take the readings of whether the soil is moistured, how much is the nutrient content, what is the humidity and temperature. This data would be transmitted to a cloud-based platform, which is the AI. Now the AI is going to compute this data and analyze the model, And along this AI, this is going to send the transmission or the signal to the digital twin. The crop in reality and the digital twin on the cloud will simulate the actual real life space of the farmer on the cloud, so that whatever, the farmer did not go to the field and test whether pesticide is needed, or a nitrogen oxide is needed, or specific nutrient is needed. All these data are stored on the cloud, so that he knows. It gives manual instruction to that set, like the crops need certain types of water at this point. So usually if the farmer is watering the crops for thrice a week or so, and especially on the specific temperature or climate, that wouldn't be required. So this type of AI platforms tells the farmer that once a week watering is enough, this much of temperature is high, and these crops, it's not just the sensors. There are drones and there are hyperspectral imaging, which is the advanced analytical tools used in the space. When this spectral imaging scans the crops, it's not just for the crops. It can be used for the animal models, or in the healthcare networks, or the different applications as well. Now, once it scans the crops, it's going to say whether the specific types of crops is going to die, or it's like a disease prediction model. No, the farmer can just sit at the home and see, like, which part of his irrigation needs is special consideration to take care of it. So this is how the transformation works, and that is why this type of infrastructure is needed, which should be transparent. Especially, it should be interoperable and reusable, so that the infrastructures can be amended properly with a proper outcome. Now, all these tools and innovations are mainly developed so that eventually it has to reap the fruit, it has to make an impact to the community. So that's about the first part, where I spoke about the essential research infrastructure. When coming to the governance and ethical frameworks, all these there are certain guidelines, especially when it comes to WHO guidelines, UNESCO guidelines. All these speak about testing, science, and patient integrity, data, and etc. Whereas there is one more principle, which is OECD. OECD AI principle specially takes care of AI development and responsible deployment. You know, responsible deployment means there should be certain types of regulatory sandboxes which is required. Now, this regulatory sandboxes, what it does, it enables a safe environment to test the developing or ongoing digital tools, so that a controlled environment can be maintained to test the tools. So a sandbox is kind of, when considering the governmental frameworks, these are the points to be considered. And of course, the last but not the least, data protection and privacy. It is equal to GDPR, which we know that, how important is the data protection or the privacy or whatever. So this data should be properly integrated to a system, that it shouldn't be lost, it should be protected properly, and there should not be, any kind of data leaks when it comes to these kind of cloud based, which is very very much, because when we discuss about the biosecurity or the food security, there are a lot of emerging pathogens or the outbreaks, or bio war for that case. And that is where government and the regulations has to consider this type of strict frameworks, when especially this food is the future, and that is what we are of surviving for health and wellness. So on longevity space or whatever, this kind of frameworks and infrastructures are really essential to take innovation to the next step. And yeah, that's about it.
Thank you for this thoughtful explanation.
Thank you.
Dr. Katarzyna, which AI-enabled models, such as chatbots, predictive analytics, or digital therapy platforms, hold the greatest potential to support mental health resilience at scale?
Yes, thank you very much, Dr. Anna, for these questions. So, based on the current landscape, I would say that there are indeed, maybe we can take a look at 3 different models with greatest potential for scalable impact. First of all, the AI-powered chatbots, which are mostly based on cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, There's many amazing example of that, like Kai, WeBuild, which I had actually an opportunity to test. Their potential lies in the fact that they're available 24/7 and also have an ability to deliver evidence-based techniques in low stigma environment. So they're very easily adaptable to all different kind of populations, also those which are a little bit more sometimes in very much need of that. They can also guide users through exercises to reframe negative thoughts, building coping skills, offering accessible first line of support to really millions. Second, I would say that this is digital therapy and coaching platforms. I also mentioned in here about Kai, BetterHelp, Talkspace, BetterUp. There's a lot of different companies and tools out there. These platforms use AI not necessarily to be the therapies, but smartly match users with human therapists and coaches, and also help with scheduling, provide supplementary resources. And very often AI here acts as a powerful logistical and support engine that makes human care more efficient and accessible at a massive scale. Thirdly, what I would call as passive insight models. These are the models and tools where we have something like Q for mood and cycle tracking apps using the neurotech sensors. They are machine learning to analyze data that the user is already generating, be it through their phone or wearable, and provide personalized insight into their well-being. But I would like to bring the attention to the focus on the GCC region as well, to mention about really outstanding initiatives. And so to bring this, I believe that GCC is a fascinating region, a very much rapidly evolving hub with the technological innovation, and it also includes mental health. So when it comes to GCC, it is uniquely positioned to leverage AI for mental health due to this combination of strong government-led technology strategies with high smartphone penetration and also young digitally native population. There's a lot of context, which is cultural, where digital platform can offer a layer of privacy and accessibility that is very highly valued. These initiatives are very well seen and can be broadly grouped into three main areas. First of all, there are government-led public health initiatives, for example, for both UAE. This is the National Strategy AI 2031, for Saudi Arabia through Vision 2030, and the Saudi Data and AI Authority. They are integrating AI into their national healthcare frameworks. And this is really outstanding and exemplary because not too many countries around the world are able to be on the forefront of application of artificial intelligence at this level. While not always that's publicly mentioned that this is for mental health, but mental health is a very important part of that. So for example, for instance, UAE Ministry of Health and Prevention is leveraging AI to analyze health data and identify patterns and predict public health needs, which include also mental well-being. And I believe that this is really something very important because it allows to better resource allocation and proactive targeted health campaigns. So this is number one. Secondly, we are seeing the rise of AI-powered platform and localized chatbots. So bringing GCC region into the forefront, I mentioned about other different kind of applications and companies and technologies, but we also have key applications and platforms like Takalam, based in UAE, which is an online counseling platform that uses AI primarily for its smart matching algorithm, connecting users with most suitable therapies based on their language, needs, and cultural background. And this is really an extraordinary advancement. So it is a perfect example also of how artificial intelligence can augment but not replace human care. We also have seen the localization of global chatbots like Wizao, like many other applications, which I have also mentioned, which has partnered with organizations in the region to offer their AI companions in Arabic with culturally adapted content, because from one country to another, they also bring the attention to different populations. And we have to be very aware of this fact, and with the respect to what would be connected to people in one country, or women in one country, or men, or young children. So I believe that this is a very important thing to bring forward. Finally, and critically, there are significant academic and research initiatives. So world-class institutions are driving the next wave of innovation. Universities like Mohammed bin Zayed University of Artificial Intelligence in Abu Dhabi and KAUST in Saudi Arabia are conducting foundational research into areas like Arabic language, natural language processing. Not many people are aware of that. And this is, I believe, really extraordinary. That's a fantastic initiative, but also vital for creating AI models that can accurately understand the nuances of sentiment, dialect, and cultural expression in the region, overcoming any biases, which I believe it's very important and very interesting topic to keep in mind. And so I believe as a result, we can have very soon next generation of truly effective and equitable AI mental health tools for the Arabic-speaking world. Finally, in summary, I believe that GCC approach in this strategic regard of artificial intelligence is really very forward-thinking and multi-layered, because it combines top-down government investment in data infrastructure, as well as growing market of localized and user-centric platforms, but also a deep-seated commitment to basically bring the foundation of the research. So this is another approach of actually having also different models of how artificial intelligence can be brought in the mental health sphere into the best of, I believe, people around the world, but also those people who speak Arabic, who live in GCC region. And I believe that this is an example for other areas globally. Thank you.
Thank you. A crucial topic indeed. Now with Dr. Muhammad, in your view, which collaborative models between government, academia, and industry are the most impactful in scaling climate solutions?
Well, now we are in the era of bringing the shared economy models, like the private sector and the NGOs and the government sector work together. For example, what we have done in Saudi Arabia in climate action, we enhance, incentivize the private sector to invest more in nature and climate in the land of the governments, and then using the current resources of the government lands to reduce the cost. And we managing this relationship. Net zero is managing the relationship between private sector and government sector and NGOs as well. So with this model, it's a new model. It not has been introduced before, because usually when they want to do something in the climate and nature, so they will need to find their own lands, private sector, they find their own lands. Now that we convince them to use the government lands and plant in the government lands with existing resources, and with that, the data or the AI readings in the government land, they will be benefit from it by the government, as well as the private sector. They will get the data from those lands, like CO2 removal rate, how many trees is there, and etc., and how much CO2 is removing from the air and stored in the trees. So shared economy model, we believe that this is the best model, where they don't play alone, government alone, private sector alone, and startups and NGOs alone. They should work together and do it in integration, using AI integration models, using AIs, machine learnings, and integration models using processes, how to integrate processes, because it's very long, very lengthy, very costly, government, they need things. Private sector, they have their own KPIs and agenda. Even those companies in the middle, like Net Zero, they are helping government and helping the private sector to work together in terms of how to collaborate together and make the use of lands, the value, unlocking the value of trees and unlocking the value of lands that are not being used up to now, and some resources that it's not tapped up to now. So how we tap those resources, how to leverage these resources. So share economy model is the successful model that works in Saudi, and it's very successful. And then with that collaboration, some policies has been changed. Some companies, they already been convinced to step inside these models. It is very cost efficient. It is very smart. It helps to achieve the KPIs of the government and the KPIs of the private sector.
Thank you for another insightful contribution. Dr. Roni, how do we scale climate inclusive models in vulnerable and low income communities?
Could you repeat the question, please?
Yes, how do we scale climate inclusive models in vulnerable and low income communities?
Well, that's a good question. We see the devastations and low-income communities. They are so powerless in response to natural disasters. And as you see, climate change has a significant impact on their local economy, because a lot of time, most of people rely on the banking system, which is how many donkey they have, how many goats they have. Sometimes after devastation, they lost everything. So they have to start all over, including rebuilding their home. So they're powerless in terms of powerful natural disasters. But it is us as entrepreneurs, what can we do within our capacity to bring resources? How quick and how fast we can respond to natural disasters and those local communities to really bring comfort, not just we bring a container of water, and then the next day people are dealing with other economic challenges. So it is our responsibilities as entrepreneurs to think ahead. And one of the things I always talk about in different universities, what we had to start with the religions, although that has a good impact on the social, because the first level of connections to people face is the religions, where they live. They know the pastor. If something happened, they can go to the pastor and receive assistance before they even go to elected officials. So I think when we think of the devastations of the amount of wealth that lost during natural disasters causing by climate change, we can also see opportunities there that can create, and that's where those underserved communities are a good model where we can and bring our resources and to be able to, some people said, well, we cannot go to this country because it's unsafe. Well, we're looking at how the populations really. So what's the economic opportunities there if we can find a way to bring resources, or even there are places where people work on the trash. I was in a small little town recently, and the airplane has to run on all those trash at the airport because there's no enough place to put trash. So I think education has to be play a major role in terms of educate people to proper recycling, but also and I say the world the technology can play as well. So that, I know there are places where people the only technology piece of the technology they know it's a cell phone. So how can education can be work with the larger firms and technology to really bring education and language that can really educate these people how and when a disasters happen, how to protect themselves and also get involved, get engaged in recycling and reduce waste, but also proper utilizations of their resources so that they can prepare themselves and safer and better and less expensive.
Thank you. Vital point for global equity. Dr. Kalmani, how can developing countries strengthen collaborative R&D models and deploy low-cost, research-ready technologies to translate scientific discoveries into real-world climate resilient solutions?
Thank you, Dr. Amna. To strengthen the collaborative R&D models, UAE has already established that we are the AI and agricultural hub recently, and there are four specific initiatives which has been taken recently, and the first one would be the CGIR. Of course, it's a platform for the AI and agriculture itself, the innovation hub, and which is definitely collaborated as an open space by the AI, which is the technology core partner technological collaborator, as well as especially when it comes to the joint public-private partnership. I would definitely say that the recent UAE Gates Foundation has invested around $20 million into the AI platform itself, and that is a humongous amount, and the time and the research and innovation invested. This kind of AI platforms is definitely is gonna bring a lot of difference when it comes to the sustainability and the transformative technologies in climate resilience platform. Now, there are open innovation networks. A very good example is the Global Innovation Summit. And this type of advisory or the digital panels would definitely elevate the standards of the like-minded peoples who are thinking about how we can protect or preserve the climate for the future generations as well. What good can be done? And I'm seeing a lot of good questions from the audience as well to Dr. Roni, especially when it comes to the painting aspects, whether where to what kind of paints to use or how to dispose the paint water, etc. So the collaborative R&D models, what can strengthen this is especially the private ventures and collaborations, and I can say the agricultural and artificial LLM language tool has been developed, and especially universities like NYU and MBZU has they are developing the language models, as well as the Institute for Agriculture and Artificial Intelligent scales, as well as lot of innovations are coming up, and deploying low cost research ready technologies can be one of the cloud based applications or AI tools. This will engage not just the clinicians and also the farmers, like I've explained earlier, on seeing the real time climate forecast or diagnostics or the weather conditions, so that they can be future ready. And there are other solutions as well, especially modular frugal hardware when it comes to modular bioreactors, which is very compact, and it can be used in a small R&D setup or a small biotech industry, which can it can be easily producible, and it can be later on scalable using the AI platform itself. And using of bioplastics is also one of the example. This kind of biodegradable bioplastics can help this solution, which can, more working towards the climate resilient future. And, recently, the language model or the AI platform is trying to develop, or help out the farmers. And in 2025, already, this is up to date, one of the largest, digital SMS to the farmers which has been sent. This was around 30 million farmers in India. Weather forecast has been sent so that they are future ready, that the crops or the harvesting season, they are for the specific climate conditions and shifts. The governmental are taking a step towards sending the forecast to the farmers, and by helping out to them, they are directly helping the community itself. And this is the same model which UAE is also trying to replicate, and we are targeting around 100 million farmers globally. So this kind of digital steps can definitely take actions. And not last but not the least, again, there are a lot of tools. One of them I would like to highlight is the CRISPR diagnostics. Now, this type of portable CRISPR diagnostics tool can be taken, and then this can enable to diagnose whether this specific pathogen or this type of the plant or whatever sample we are testing is whether affected or not. And this enables us to stop at that point, because we can contain the spreading, and we can definitely take the risk benefit ratio based on the diagnostics tools model. And a lot of community driven pilots are there, and it is just in time. These pilots will A lot of pilots are actually trying in a sandbox model. It has been already launched to test in the real world. So this is from me when it comes to the question.
Thank you for this powerful perspective.
Thank you,
Dr. Katarzyna, what ethical, cultural, and governance safeguards are necessary to ensure responsible, safe, and equitable use of AI in mental health systems?
Yes, thank you so much. I believe that from all of the topics which I have brought, towards the application of artificial intelligence and mental health, this is the most important one. And the reason for this is that I believe that we cannot bring any innovation on technology when we do not put the safeguards in the center of that. And we also need to be aware of, how all these different rules are going to be used. So I would say that there are three non-negotiable pillars. First of all, it's ethics. So we need radical transparency and user control over data. And as we bring this forward, so the question which is very important here is who owns our inner world? Already mental health issue is something very individual and very important, also bringing a lot of stigma. So now the question of ethics, it's really a non-negotiable when it comes to how the sensitive data of mental health can be protected to not to become just a business asset for insurance or advertising companies. We also need more of the enforcement principles when it comes to informed consent. I believe that there's still many populations which are not fully aware of the importance that actually they decide that their data can be used or not used. And this is something which is very, very important. So there is a question of bringing this forward. Also, when it comes to how we can bring the information about what actually artificial intelligence is, how it is connected, how we can, find it in different ways of different applications and tools, and actually demystify this a little bit. So, there's a lot of context of black box idea when, we have everybody use ChatGPT, we put some question and there is a reply. But many people do not know where those replies are coming from. So it's very important to actually have transparency and clarity, and also from the other side, accountability when there are certain information shared or there's a decision which is taken. So I believe that this is the first thing. Secondly, there are also cultural safeguards. And so in here, we must also move away from, you know, a kind of one size fits all, because what is the model, you know, designed as a tool in Silicon Valley, and exploiting this globally might not be really actually a fit to GCC region or to any other region, just to give an example. And I believe that there is a lot of questions when, you know, some of the tools which I have observed. So I have written a couple of articles in this topic and made pretty an in-depth analysis. Some of those tools have AI embedded racial, gender, cultural biases. And this is really very tricky because when, you know, we ask some questions and we receive some replies, when those topics are not really taking in account from the cultural point of view, it's not just to translate, you know, to different languages. It's really to adapt to also cultural agreement of what is perceived as acceptable, as, you know, well, or what is not. And I believe that this is very important, especially when it comes, you know, to the fact that we cannot just transfer an approach. You know, I give this in my presentation as example, that let's say a person who is a little bit more reserved might be perceived as angry. So if we, you know, we are a little bit more reserved when it comes to our communication, AI can straight jump into conclusion, and that can be a bias, which can be very actually sometimes even disturbing. Finally, I would bring also the question of governance. And so in here, we also need to be very, very mindful of the fact that for a lot of companies, they do not really pay attention. And one thing which I wanted to mention is that there are clear regulatory oversights when it comes to application of different AI tools and models. And so I believe what is very, very important here is that, you know, there's a lot of different kind of applications, just kind of make it a little bit more, you know, end user friendly. And many people just hear the hype on TikTok that there's this new application which can do this or that, which we can, you know, kind of engage in talking. And when, you know, it's a hype, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's safe, that it's, you know, actually able to accommodate, especially mental health issues. So I believe that that's something which is very, very important. So it's important to bring, you know, different kind of quadriles when it comes to regulatory, also kind of make people aware that, you know, sometimes it can be harmful. So there is a lot of positive things. I also mention this very often, that there is a lot of negative aspects, because many people, sometimes children, will self-diagnose. And I think that we very quickly, because of the bias, jump into conclusion verifying any symptoms can sometimes give, you know, from the AI model, little kind of, you know, repercussions. So I believe that I would take it with a grain of salt. And also when it comes to many things, I believe that, again, in here, visiting, especially UAE, I was really impressed by the whole GCC region and advancement when it comes to tackling these issues, the ethical safeguards, the pillar of trust and transparency, and the privacy. I believe that in GCC region especially, this is something which is very seriously taken in account. And when it comes to transparency, data sovereignty, it's very important when, you know, any kind of applications or any kind of things which are developed, when people locally are using them, that there is national data protection law, like UAE PDPL or Saudi NDMO regulations, and the promise must be really explicit. So when it comes to those different you know, possibilities of how we can apply AI in mental health, is that, and by the way, not only any kind of opportunities when it comes to new technologies, that the data will never be leaving the country, and also, you know, somehow be shared with some third parties. This is very crucial and important. And I believe that in this context, also the consent. So I believe that it's important that this is available for people also in their language. So in Arabic, English, Urdu, Hindi, Tagalog, in any language which could possibly actually be used. So sometimes we can say, okay, we can speak English, but after working with patients, I must say that when someone is sick, they do not want to make the translations. This is the least thing they would like to put on their kind of to-do list when they have to take care of any health issue. And so I believe that we need to create technologies, tools, which will be able to reply to this. And bringing also the question of the black box again, this is a little bit like, I would like to really bring AI is not magic, it's mathematics. It's a lot of things which are brought to our knowledge. But as Dr. Kanmani was saying, as also Mr. Mohammed or Dr. Roni, we all have different approaches of new technologies. And very often in the very early stage, they are a little bit like mystery to many people. When we start to get to know them and use them a little bit more in the larger scale, they become actually more kind of actionable. And then they kind of become a daily routine. Let's take a look at TV scene many, many years ago. Now everybody have them at home, and actually they don't even use them anymore because everybody's on their phone. So I would say that these are the important things. And again, the most important topic here is actually to make any technology, any kind of a new innovative idea available for people, and creating this with this aim. Thank you so much.
Thank you for this essential and thoughtful contribution. Well, at this point, we would like to open the floor to our audience, whose engagement is truly what transforms a discussion into collective insight. If you have a question, please feel free to raise your hand or type it in the chat, and we will gladly direct it to our distinguished speakers. But before, allow me to invite co-leader Dr. Allama for an intervention.
Thank you, my sister, co-leader, friend, everything, mashallah alik, Dr. Amna. I'm so proud to have you, mashallah. Thanks to all of you, all speakers, mashallah, your speech and insight was very important. My closing word will still be the same. Just to tell you the point you touch was the K1, honestly, from all of you. From the importance of collaboration, from the importance of climate with the experience in Saudi, from digital health, from digital generally, and also from community involvement. You touch all points, mashallah. And GInS is not only here to promote innovation, but also to show how we can innovate together with collaboration. Collaboration between gender as well as digital transformation is happening today. Anyway, tomorrow will be leading by today youth. Then collaboration between them is very important. And as well as nobody can achieve anything alone. Nobody can pretend to be safe alone. Collaboration between all sector and collaboration between countries, collaboration between also generation and gender. We talk about regulation. Regulation mean a lot, maybe because of my side of chief compliance. Collaboration mean a lot, especially when we want to take action the most important is what we are doing, but how we are going to do it. And the most important is not what we are saying today, but what we are going to do after today. And what I can say from what I heard from all of you is your speech is making impact and will make more impact. We are very thankful. I'm thankful for all of you, and Jeannie also is thankful because Jeannie cannot make it alone without you. We cannot make it happen without you. We need all of you. And I will close my speech to say, to touch that point about community involvement. Same with professional involvement. Just I will say we don't need to involve anyone, but what we need is to make everyone comfortable, to bring them to involve themselves and to take the lead with all of us. All of us is leading, and all of us should lead to make a better world tomorrow, inshallah. Thank you to all of you, and I will give back the stage to my co-leader Amna, and we can go ahead.
Thank you, Dr. Allama. So we have a question directed to Dr. Roni. Dr. Roni, okay. I'm painting on a canvas as I'm watching your panel actually, and I wanted to ask your perspective on what you mentioned here, which is the proper disposal of paint and paint water. As an artist in a third world, when it comes to climate change, because I know that no matter what I do as an individual, how can I stay motivated to do my part as other people in my community also feel discouraged to do their part, knowing that in the grand scheme it doesn't mean as much as we'd hope.
Well,
Dr. Ron.
That's a wonderful question. Thanks so much for reading these questions. And from my understanding, there's a signal issue. I don't know if it's on my end, but what I will say, but I have a tremendous passion for artists. Not because I'm in the paint industry, but because of what they can create. These are the people who speak their own language, the language of beautifications, the language of arts. A lot of them don't have PhDs. They don't have the level of education it takes us to do the work we are doing. But tremendously, they are able to use paint to such a tools to express their talent, their creativity. And I have greater respect for them. For you to be an artist, I applaud you. I know how hard your work is. That itself, I would love to see some of the art you create in your own community. But to tackle the issue, my question is not to the question I raise in terms of individual responsibility. What can you do within yourself? And I think paint is a beautiful product, but a gallon of paint, it takes 11 gallons of water to make 1 gallon of paint. And you look at how many gallons of paint, and of 100 million gallons of paint wasted in the US. So being able to put ourselves in a position to reduce that, look at how many gallons of paint, gallons of water that can be saved. And not only that, for 1 gallon of paint that wrongly disposed in the environment, believe it or not, it has the capacity to pollute up to 250,000 gallons of water. So although we take great pleasure in the beautifications of color creating by paint, but also there's negative impact that we need to be aware of. So it is not the commercializations, the big manufacturers of paint, they make a product to meet the demands of their clients, of the big industry, the big hotels, the big real estate companies and the construction companies. And once they sell the paint is final. There's no solutions to dispose of it properly. So it is when I call every individuals to take responsibility, because I know the danger in paint, but I also know how people love paint, love colors. It's just everybody loves paint. I mean, everybody wants to live in a place where the walls are beautiful, the environment is pretty, and we contribute to that. And the paint we collect, we are able to bring all these beautifications and provide paint to artists. And we may know one of the biggest expense in your and creating those beautiful arts, it's paint. If you don't have paint to of course create those piece of beautifications, you won't be able to create your talent. And what we'll be able to do is to reduce that paint waste and be able to support as many artists around the world. I know we all have responsibilities, but the policies is so hard to get in the heart of the corporations to help them reduce. And one of the things that Global Paint is doing with my teams, and we have been able to use AI technology to actually, if you want to be, we want to reduce the paint waste and chemical impact that can be so harmful for the local communities. Let us be part of the urban development stage. Let us be part of the table to discuss and show the impact. Let us know how many people that's going to be in that new buildings or the new community, and then we can lay out the foundations and how much gallon of paint that's going to be used in the 10 years, or the next 10 years, and the next 20 years. And we use that data to show you how to reduce paint waste in that aspect. And then we can take that data quantitatively, qualitatively, and present it to the paint manufacturers, and to say, hey, we have that clients that are going to buy 20,000 gallons of paint, or maybe 200,000 gallons of paint. And then over the next 5 years, if you use a hotel, or if you use in other private buildings, how many times you see the hotel needs to be painted? Sometimes the hotel, they paint them every day. You see the painters walking around the hotel, try to cover up any crash, anything. So to keep the building beautiful, so the tourists can see the beauty of all that. So it's a lot of data to need to be collected, and how we use it to really make an impact and get the government and the private sector to get involved in support of what Global Paint is doing from a national, international, and local level to have a greater impact in the community. But your artists, I love you, and I applaud you, and keep doing the great work. I hope to see your arts one day. So thank you so much for the question.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rooney. We have another question. what the best way that can AI and mental health work can progress together in a way that puts patients first. Both industries have a deep emphasis on upholding ethical boundaries and frameworks. And so the question is, with the way the AI industry is headed, what topics should AI be trained more on before this idea becomes mainstream?
Yes, so thank you so much for this question. I think that this is indeed very important. And what I would like to say is that there is a very powerful question we need to ask ourselves, and I would like to bring it here. So, what is the most powerful tool we have, yet we understand the least? And the answer is not AI, it is the human mind. So when we actually want to tackle something, we first need to really understand what the human mind is, what mental health actually is. So basically, first of all, to bring the clear definition of what we talk about, okay? And also to bring, a little bit more of the openness to see different aspects, okay? We cannot just use any kind of technology for being, frankly speaking in that, because we need to really tackle the big picture. When it comes to mental health crisis, because there is one, and this is also one of the most important, sustainability development goals, 1 in 7 people now are actually suffering, living with mental health condition. This is more than 1 billion people worldwide. And this is the newest data from WHO from 2025. Now, when it comes to depression, this is actually the first cause of disability. It's around 264 million of people who are suffering from that. Anxiety disorders, it's 300 million people. And this is really raising sharply, through young people around the world. And I believe that in many countries around the world, also another thing which is happening is that many people have different kind of issues, but they are not, kind of reaching out to help because of stigma, because of, sometimes tools which are not adapted and so on. So the reason why I put this, it is to basically set the stage of what is actually happening globally when it comes to our health, our mind. This is one of the most important things. But if I would like to bring, this forward, I sometimes ask, in my presentations, can you raise your hand if since the beginning of this presentation or earlier you didn't touch your phone, or that you touch your phone? Please raise your hand. We have everyone who at least look at the time. We are so connected. We are so all the time, close, because this is our tool which takes a central stage of our life. So now why I make this kind of, a little bit more entertaining approach. The reason for this is the following. We need to be very aware that this is, having our phone, digital tools, this is a central part of our lives. And now in order to really bring the best solutions and the most focus on patients, on people like you and me, we need to include people, patients, in the center of how those different products are designed, of actually also bring the quadrille, so the regulatory part, to also think about data protection, to also not to let a little bit, the technology, if it's artificial intelligence or other technologies, to just go wild, if I can call it this way, because we have to be there at the forefront of taking the responsibility of actually how this can support us. It's a little bit like any kind of amazing tools can be, used in a proper way to bring something positive in our lives. In many cases, that can be sometimes detrimental. So I believe that the most important things to kind of bring forward is that to bring fast, scalable support for patients. So, we can have therapy, bots, diagnostic tools, They are amazing because available 24/7 with really lower stigma. So there's a lot of positive things. We can personalize the insights, so we can make them, culturally sensitive, language sensitive. We can also fill the gaps where sometimes we speak about, underserved or remote areas, but also there are some perils. There is a lack of empathy. We cannot count on ChatGPT to become our friends. And unfortunately, that's sometimes the case. We also need to kind of be very mindful of the nuance or AI-led therapy. This is very important as well. There's also a high risk of false reassurance or sometimes misdiagnosis, which I have mentioned to you already. Sometimes the over-reliance when it comes to vulnerable users. The thing is that, when it comes to especially youth, I'm very passionate about this topic because what is the most important thing, I believe, is that eventually any tool, if it's artificial intelligence, any digital tool, anything which we bring, eventually it's something which is supposed to help us. So in order to make it really a sustainable tool, we really need to make sure that we actually work with it hand in hand. And we cannot exclude human connection. And to tell you, for many kids, they can have amazing, apps on the phone. They can have AI at school. They can, watch cartoons. They can, have all different kind of things. But nothing will replace their parents say, "How is your day?" Nothing will replace, their parents, their mother, father, taking them in their arms, when they're very small and they need nurturing. So I believe that the most critical thing is to not to overwhelm with, just relying on the technology, but really bringing the nurturing part, the true connection. And I believe what is very important to me, and I value this very much as well, also in the GCC region, is the importance of family, importance of community, importance of the social context. This is the most important thing. And we can have all different kind of tools to use it, but let's remember that actually people are really in the center of any kind of innovation or technology. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Doctor. Ladies and gentlemen, today's dialogue reminded us that innovation is not merely a technological act, it's a moral commitment to future generations. On behalf of the Sustainability and Climate Innovation Community, Global Innovation Summit, and Global Innovation Institute, Dr. Allama and I extend our sincere appreciation to our speakers and to everyone who joined us. Thank you for being part of this meaningful conversation, and we look forward to continuing the journey toward a more resilient, equitable, and sustainable world. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Amna. Thank you. Thank you for arranging this, Dr. Alama. And thank you, Dr. Kat and Dr. Ronnie, for your insightful discussion. I really hope that we can share a platform like this in the future, especially in person, so that, we could meet and discuss more on,
Yes.
what we can do.
Certainly. Thank you so much as well for this opportunity. And I believe that because these topics are so close to our hearts, I believe one of the amazing things as well is to unite in order to bring them forward. So I believe, speaking with Dr. Amna and Dr. Alama, and also with you, Dr. Kamani, with Dr. Roni, with Mr. Mohammed, with all the speakers, I think that this is maybe, an initial discussion concerning this particular context, but I believe seeing the work of Dr. Anna and Alama, there's a lot of different, ways how we can contribute.
Definitely.
All these
Yes.
these topics can be brought forward. So I actually will be present in GCC region pretty soon. So I hope to really meet in person and then continue this conversation with pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr.
Thank
Kat.
you.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Dr. Roni, and have a very good day, everyone. Thank you. Good
Bye-bye.
night here for GCC. Bye.